reason for anyone from a township to go to a mayor's conference. The mayor's conference.
Brace yourselves as we delve into one of the most startling tales currently unfolding in suburban Chicago, a drama thick with allegations of corruption, misappropriation of public funds, political retaliation, and even FBI involvement. At the heart of this explosive story is Tiffany Henyard, the township supervisor for Thornton, who has taken to referring to herself as the super mayor of Dalton. Illinois. Henyard has recently made headlines, and it's no surprise given the controversies swirling around her. Reports accuse her of extravagant spending on lavish parties and political intimidation directed at critics. As a central figure in this unfolding political thriller, her tenure has become synonymous with administrative chaos and actions that some argue reflect an abuse of power and a disregard for her responsibilities. As a public servant, the situation escalated when federal investigators, including the FBI, became involved, adding an extra layer of drama to her leadership. Allegations suggest that public funds have been funneled into dubious projects and personal expenses, prompting scrutiny from various quarters. Detractors claim that dissent against Henyard's leadership is met with heavy-handed retaliation, including targeted audits, demotions, and other forms of political pressure aimed at silencing opposition. This multifaceted saga raises serious questions about governance and ethical leadership in Dalton and Thornton Township, thrusting Henyard into an unwelcome spotlight as she becomes the focal point of a case that is reshaping the political landscape of the region. As more details emerge, the allegations only seem to grow more shocking, with critics likening the situation to a real-life soap opera fueled by unchecked ambition and alleged misconduct, while some supporters defend Henyard, dismissing the allegations as politically motivated attacks. They argue that her unconventional leadership style and bold personality have made her an easy target for criticism in a contentious political environment. Whether these allegations hold merit or represent a case of character assassination remains a contentious issue, with investigations still ongoing. The public watches closely to see how this high-stakes saga will play out. What's certain is that this narrative of power, scandal, and potential legal repercussions has captivated attention both locally and beyond. It serves as a stark reminder of the fragility of public trust and the critical importance of transparency and accountability in leadership. From headlines detailing the FBI's involvement to first-hand accounts of alleged intimidation tactics, the story of Tiffany Henyard continues to unravel in ways that promise no shortage of revelations and controversies as this localized concern about administrative decisions spirals into a full-blown controversy. It has broader implications for governance in affected communities. What began as questions about Henyard's administrative choices has become a cautionary tale about the potential pitfalls of leadership unchecked by rigorous oversight. Amid growing calls for reform and accountability, the saga of Tiffany Henyard stands as a vivid chapter in the ongoing dialogue about ethics, responsibility, and the consequences of power in suburban Chicago politics.
You are up here at this special meeting and not downstairs.
Tiffany Henyard's political career in Dalton, Illinois, has taken a dramatic and controversial turn as the FBI steps in to investigate a sprawling network of alleged corruption, abuse of power, and financial misconduct that has reportedly developed over the past 2 years. What began as mere whispers about her behavior has escalated into a full-blown scandal, with allegations mounting from business owners, village employees, and trustees claiming to have first-hand knowledge of a web of deceit orchestrated under her leadership. Henyard, known for her bold and polarizing style, now faces accusations of fostering a toxic environment rife with favoritism, mismanagement, and retaliation against those who dare to challenge her authority. Critics point to a range of questionable decisions, including the alleged misappropriation of public funds, lavish spending on events and parties, and the possible diversion of township resources for personal gain or to benefit political allies. These claims have ignited intense debates within the Dalton community, as supporters argue that she is being unfairly targeted by political adversaries intent on discrediting her, while detractors believe these issues highlight systemic corruption that demands immediate attention over time. Concerns about her conduct have grown increasingly vocal and public. Local businesses have complained about perceived unfair treatment, while trustees have raised alarms about opaque decision-making processes. Employees describe a culture of intimidation purportedly designed to silence opposition. This mounting discontent has drawn the attention of higher authorities, leading to the FBI's involvement in investigating the extent and nature of the alleged wrongdoing. Federal agents are reportedly probing a variety of activities, from potential financial irregularities and misuse of township funds to alleged violations of ethics laws and abuse of power. The involvement of the FBI signals that the situation has escalated beyond the capacity of local and state bodies to manage, underscoring the severity of the accusations against Henyard and her administration. Once hopeful about her leadership, residents of Dalton now find themselves divided. Some believe the investigations are baseless attempts to undermine a woman in power, while others demand accountability and transparency. Weary of what they see as a pattern of mismanagement and dishonesty compounding the drama, are claims that Henyard's administration has retaliated against whistleblowers and critics. Allegations include punitive actions such as demotions, dismissals, and legal threats used to suppress dissent. What started as a slow trickle of rumors has evolved into a deluge of accusations that have left the local government in turmoil, with Henyard at the center of a political firestorm. As the FBI intensifies its investigation, more stakeholders are stepping forward with allegations, painting a picture of township leadership marred by cronyism, coercion, and a lack of accountability. The fallout from this scandal has implications that extend beyond Dalton, becoming emblematic of broader issues surrounding governance integrity and public trust within local governments. The outcomes of these investigations will not only determine Henyard's political future, but could also set a precedent for how cases of alleged local corruption are handled moving forward. For now, the situation in Dalton remains fluid, with each new revelation adding complexity to a case that shows no signs of resolution. The FBI's involvement marks a pivotal turning point, indicating that the scope and scale of the allegations against Henyard and her administration require a thorough and impartial examination. As residents and observers await the investigation's findings, the story of Tiffany Henyard has become a compelling example of the challenges and controversies that can arise when power goes unchecked. This unfolding saga serves as a stark reminder of the importance of vigilance, transparency, and accountability in leadership. With allegations swirling and the federal spotlight firmly fixed on Dalton, this scandal promises to be one of the most closely watched political sagas in suburban Chicago in years. Whether Henyard emerges vindicated or implicated, her story is already a cautionary tale about the potential consequences of unchecked authority and the critical role of oversight in maintaining the integrity of public office.
Of an investigation of village finances and the spending habits of beleaguered.
Tiffany Henyard has found herself at the center of an escalating political scandal, accused of living a life of luxury at taxpayers' expense, while her community grapples with growing discontent and disarray. Critics argue that her tenure as mayor of Dalton, Illinois, has been marked by lavish expenditures on personal travel, exorbitant security measures, and pressure exerted on local businesses to support her political ambitions. These actions are said to have strained public resources and undermined the town's stability once viewed as a promising figure in local politics. Henyard is now the subject of public outrage and federal scrutiny. Residents express frustration over what they describe as unchecked mismanagement and apparent self-enrichment. The town itself presents a grim picture, with reports of unclean streets, failing services, and local businesses facing significant obstacles, not from market challenges, but from perceived political interference by Henyard's administration. Those unwilling to align with her political objectives reportedly found themselves targeted through delays in permits, increased fees, or other bureaucratic roadblocks. This troubling dynamic has prompted the FBI to intervene, launching what appears to be a sprawling investigation into corruption and abuse of power. The federal inquiry reportedly stems from numerous complaints from Dalton business owners who allege they were coerced into contributing to or endorsing Henyard's initiatives under the threat of punitive measures. This situation reflects a hostile environment where political allegiance dictated access to operational freedom, stifling commerce and innovation in a town already grappling with economic difficulties. Moreover, allegations regarding the use of public funds to finance personal luxuries have raised significant ethical questions. Critics point to lavish trips and events that seem to serve no legitimate public purpose, arguing that they reflect a pattern of indulgence at the expense of Dalton's taxpayers. Concerns also extend to the administration's spending on personal security, with residents questioning whether these substantial expenditures were justified or simply another example of public funds being used to cater to Henyard's preferences. As the FBI delves deeper into these issues, the discontent among Dalton's residents grows louder. They view the deteriorating state of their town as a direct consequence of what they believe is Henyard's negligence and focus on self-serving political maneuvering rather than the community's well-being. Streets remain unkempt, basic services falter, and community morale continues to decline, leaving many wondering how an administration with such lofty promises could fall so short of expectations. Meanwhile, Henyard's supporters dismiss the allegations as politically motivated attacks designed to tarnish her reputation and undermine her efforts to bring transformative change to Dalton. They argue that she has faced unprecedented challenges and that the criticisms stem from resistance to her bold and unapologetic leadership style. Despite these defenses, the federal investigation casts a long shadow over Henyard's administration. The FBI's involvement signifies a high-stakes turning point, suggesting that the seriousness of the allegations warrants comprehensive scrutiny at the national level. The investigation seeks to determine whether public funds have been misused, whether businesses have been unfairly targeted, and whether Henyard's actions violate ethics laws or constitute a breach of public trust. The repercussions of these findings will shape not only Henyard's political career, but also the future of Dalton. As residents and businesses brace for the outcomes, Henyard's story has become a symbol of the risks posed by unchecked authority and the fragile balance between political power and public accountability. Her tenure raises critical questions about governance, community priorities, and the consequences of placing personal ambition above collective well-being, as Dalton's residents demand answers and accountability. The case underscores the importance of vigilance in ensuring that leaders remain transparent and committed to serving the public interest. While the investigations continue, the focus remains on restoring trust, addressing systemic issues, and fostering a political culture that prioritizes integrity and service. For now, Henyard's journey from a promising public servant to the center of a federal probe stands as a cautionary tale for communities everywhere, reminding us of the enduring need for oversight, accountability, and ethical leadership. Lawrence Gardner, the owner of a U-Haul truck rental company in Dalton, Illinois, alleges that his business license renewal was rejected solely because he refused to participate in a community event sponsored by Mayor Tiffany Henyard. After declining to financially support Henyard's event, Gardner claims he faced harassment from the Dalton police and ultimately had his business seized. Frustrated and seeking justice, he took his complaints to the FBI, which has initiated a larger investigation into the allegations. Gardner is not alone. His claims resonate with numerous other local business owners, painting a troubling picture of a pattern of political retaliation under Henyard's administration. Dwayne Wood, a local restaurant owner, believes he has been targeted due to his establishment's association with Dalton trustees who are critical of Henyard. Wood asserts that the difficulties he faces in renewing his business license are no coincidence, linking them to his perceived affiliation with Henyard's political rivals. Although he has yet to speak directly with federal authorities, his suspicions align with growing claims of systematic targeting. Another business, George Towing, alleges that their license renewal was obstructed after they refused to contribute to Henyard's campaign. These incidents suggest an environment where businesses are pressured to align with Henyard's political interests or face significant consequences. Such allegations have prompted the FBI to intervene, conducting a covert investigation that includes interviewing witnesses, gathering evidence from Dalton Village Hall, and deploying electronic surveillance to uncover the depth of the alleged corruption. While federal agents remain tight-lipped about specific findings, reports indicate that patterns of political intimidation, financial mismanagement, and misuse of taxpayer funds are under review. Henyard's administration faces intense criticism, not just for the alleged targeting of dissenters, but also for her lavish personal spending of public funds. Reports claim that she has used village money to pay for high-end vacations, first-class accommodations, and even overtime for her personal security detail. This has sparked outrage in a small municipality like Dalton, where residents argue that such expenditures represent a gross misuse of taxpayer money. Trustees have flagged budget issues for years, but their concerns appear to have been ignored, raising questions about Henyard's leadership priorities. Perhaps the most glaring example of financial mismanagement is a trip Henyard and her entourage took to Las Vegas, ostensibly for business purposes, but riddled with scandalous undertones. Accusations suggest that the trip was not solely for official matters, further complicating the narrative around her conduct. Adding to the controversy, Henyard faces a lawsuit from a former assistant and a police officer who claimed they were retaliated against for raising concerns about improprieties during the Las Vegas trip. This lawsuit, coupled with a federal investigation, has turned Henyard's tenure into a full-blown political storm. The allegations against her extend beyond financial misuse and political retaliation to include serious claims of obstructing accountability. Despite widespread calls for transparency, Henyard reportedly vetoed a motion that would have initiated an internal probe into her spending, Critics argue that this decision exemplifies her unwillingness to allow scrutiny of her conduct. Fueling public suspicion about her leadership, federal investigators are reportedly examining everything from misuse of public funds to allegations of retaliatory actions against whistleblowers. Reports of excessive spending on Henyard's security detail, which runs into hundreds of thousands of dollars, further amplify the controversy. Residents struggle to justify such expenditures in a village with pressing needs and tight finances, especially in light of claims of ostentatious parties and personal indulgences. Compounding these issues is Henyard's recent unilateral decision to appoint a new police chief without approval from the village board, a move that has sparked legal action against her administration. Former Chief of Police Robert Collins has filed a lawsuit alleging that the decision violated governance protocols and highlighted a pattern of unchecked power in Henyard's leadership. This too has drawn FBI interest as agents seek to determine whether these actions are part of a broader pattern of abuse. The federal probe represents a critical turning point for Dalton, with residents and trustees hoping that the truth will finally be revealed. Critics argue that Henyard's vetoing of investigative motions and retaliatory actions against opponents are attempts to shield herself from accountability, casting doubt on her commitment to ethical governance. Amid this turmoil, Henyard continues to project an image of resilience, portraying herself as a victim of politically motivated attacks, while her supporters insist that her leadership has been misunderstood. The weight of the allegations and the ongoing federal investigation paint a different picture. Residents, weary of the scandals, demand answers and reform as Dalton grapples with declining public trust, deteriorating services, and an administration ensnared in controversy. The involvement of the FBI signals a critical juncture, with hopes that the investigation will uncover the truth behind the allegations. For a small village like Dalton, which lacks the expansive resources of a major metropolis, the idea that public funds may have been squandered on lavish events and questionable expenditures is both alarming and infuriating. As the investigation unfolds, Henyard's ability to navigate these mounting challenges will likely determine the future of her political career and the reputation of the village she serves.
Thing as relates to with credit cards. As you heard me speak today in my board meeting about, I do not have it.
Some of those charges are for you, though.
The situation in Dalton, Illinois, continues to escalate, raising serious questions about the leadership of Mayor Tiffany Henyard amid mounting allegations of financial mismanagement and political retaliation. Residents and trustees have expressed their frustrations, demanding answers during village meetings. However, rather than fostering meaningful dialogue, Henyard reportedly pulled one resident from a meeting, accusing her of stealing from the village, a move that only heightened suspicions and further fueled the ongoing drama. The village's legal troubles are compounding. The law firm that has represented Dalton in nearly 20 lawsuits, Delgado L., has announced it will no longer serve as the village's counsel due to severe financial issues stemming from Dalton's inability to pay its costs. This development underscores the dire state of the village's finances, which some attribute to Henyard's management, leaving Dalton in such a financial crisis that even its lawyers are walking away. The law firm cited non-payment of fees in its decision to withdraw, casting a shadow over the village's already precarious financial situation, especially with the FBI investigation looming amid these mounting pressures. Questions arise about how Henyard is managing the crisis. One would expect her to take a step back or issue an apology, but instead, she claims that the funds in question came from her own pocket. However, the timing of a recent $40,000 purchase on Amazon raises eyebrows, leading many residents to doubt her explanations. At a recent picnic event, when asked about her spending, Henyard took to the microphone to assert her innocence, declaring that she has never stolen anything and that she feels divinely chosen to lead. While her confidence may resonate with some, it does little to quell the serious accusations against her. Criticism of Henyard has only intensified, with some citizens suggesting drastic measures to address their discontent. One resident proposed physically removing officials from their offices, resetting all door locks and passwords, and canceling credit cards as a means of reclaiming control over the village. This sentiment reflects a growing sense of betrayal among the community, with many demanding accountability and justice for the perceived corruption that has surfaced, adding to the turmoil. Claims have emerged from residents and firefighters alleging that Henyard embezzled money from their retirement fund. Some individuals are reportedly hesitant to speak out publicly for fear of retribution, highlighting a chilling atmosphere of intimidation that has been reported by many in Dalton. The pattern of alleged misconduct has not gone unnoticed, and calls for accountability have grown louder. As one local writer passionately asserted, lock up these scammers and their minions too, urging that those complicit in any wrongdoing should also face consequences. The ongoing FBI investigation shows no signs of slowing down, with new accusations surfacing nearly every week. For Henyard, navigating these allegations will likely prove challenging. As the scrutiny intensifies, residents are left wondering whether she should resign or be given a chance to clear her name. Is this a case of political sabotage, or has Henyard's leadership genuinely faltered? The broader implications of this scandal raise essential questions about governance in Dalton. As residents grapple with declining trust in services, they must consider whether it's time for the village to move on from Henyard's administration. With emotions running high and uncertainty permeating the community, the future of Dalton hangs in the balance. Please share your thoughts in the comments section below. And don't forget to subscribe for more updates on this unfolding story. Until our next meeting, thank you for following this developing situation.